In light of what's happening today in New York City with the controversy surrounding Park 51, how do you think this has affected the Muslim community, and particularly Muslim youth?
Before 9/11, in focus groups that we've conducted with Muslim youth, they were quite familiar with the stereotypes. If they're wearing Islamic dress, like the headscarf or hijab, having that pulled, and so on and so forth, being teased and intimidated. Post 9/11, and now with the Park 51 controversy, how they express this sense of being perceived by the mainstream is that the linguistic diversity, the cultural diversity, the ethnic diversity of the community of Muslims here in New York City, all that diversity is homogenized into a grand sort of master racialized stereotype of who Muslims are. And this is what Muslims fear. And the children express this to us. Strangers perceive them as a racialized other. And suddenly, that hyphen that they feel, that being American Muslim or Muslim American, feeling on that hyphen, rather than being balanced and perfectly ordinary, now they're seen as extraordinary. In fact, they're not really seen as American. Their sense of American identity, that American half of their, on the hyphen that they're trying to negotiate, is suddenly being challenged.
I would like to compliment what is a very global, comprehensive, macro perspective with my own two daughters' perspective, which is kind of like a micro, taking that and putting it into the mind of two teenage girls. And they do feel very much hyphenated, but the Muslim hyphen part has nothing to do with those people who did that to 9/11. They don't see that as part of Islam in any way, shape, or form. At the same time, they are acutely sensitive to the fact that it is the perception that this is how Muslims are, and that's very painful for them.
There's more of an interest to actually get involved, and more of an interest to open the doors and say, this is who we are, and this is why we want to be understood. And so as painful as Park 51 might be, there might come some good out of it by, young people and students really starting to realize that they can't hide, they need to come out and they need to speak up for themselves.
As concerned individuals, how can we work in our own lives and communities to help break down stereotypes or barriers that exist? I mean, both, as you're mentioning, now at this point in time, it's mostly with the Muslim community, but in any other ethnic or diverse community in America.
So I think it starts in your own living room, it starts with your own friends, it starts with your own family. I've had many discussions with my father, and we're still not there, but we're working on it. I think that's just really important. It's a one-on-one, and if somebody says something, just nip it in the bud, don't let it slip. I think that is one of the hugely important things, is like engage, and don't be afraid to engage.
Just by virtue of the pluralism of our country, the diversity of our country, you're going to have cycles that are sometimes triggered by economic downturns, attacks, war, and so on and so forth. They're going to trigger animosities, intergroup animosities. And cultural differences are a fact of human societies, cultural differences, the other. But I think it's a symptom. In a way, it's a positive symptom, though, of a society that is strong in its pluralism and its dedication to the idea of freedom and justice for all, no matter who you are.
When Nina and my daughter Yasmin started to talk, and I wanted to be sure that Nina had good intentions with her film, and when I say good intentions, that it would produce an honest portrayal. And when she approached me, it was about 7 years after 9/11, and I said, 7 years ago, that was a very important issue in the lives of Muslims, and a lot of Muslims have examined themselves, examined their religion. This was a point where they really had to do soul searching, and actually many people actually embraced their religion more at that time, and embraced it in the true spiritual sense, in the true peaceful sense, and in the true sense that we do need to be more civic-minded and make the world a better place, and show people who the real Muslims are. But by the same token, we have moved on from that point. And I said to Nina, I really want you to know that we've moved on from this point. We're not going to be apologetic over and over and over. We want you just to see who we are in our normal daily lives. And we really want to move on from that dreadful, dreadful thing. And I would like to say once again, I think this is a very honest portrayal of Muslims and a diverse array of Muslims, of ethnic backgrounds, of levels of faith and commitment. It's just, part of the American Muslim fabric. And I would like everyone here to know that these are typical Muslims. They're just people.